require a city to put a bridge or a
Oh,
culvert.
culvert. You were like, beep, beep.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll pop in finally.
That's funny. We're out in it.
And they check, they
All right.
check them. I bet you'll be sorry.
All right, folks, thank you for attending the trustee meeting tonight on Monday, March 10th. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 7:32. Could you please stand for pledge allegiance, short motion. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Heavenly Father, we thank you that we could gather in this place. We ask that we continue to make decisions for the betterment of the community. We ask you to watch over all of our kids in our public school and all those kids that might be homeschooled. We ask you to watch over all of our staff and all the great things that they do in our community. And thank you for a beautiful day today. Amen. All right. Do we have any changes to the meeting agenda?
Under new business, I'll just give a report on the SCOG meeting.
Okay.
I just need an executive session at the end with no action.
All right. Executive. Okay. Fiscal Officer Lowry, anything?
No.
No. Okay. Moving along.
That's unusual.
I know. Approval of the minutes from 2/24/25.
Trustee Pirro moves to accept the minutes presented.
Trustee Griffith seconds.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, approval of the treasurer's report for 2/25 through 3/10.
Trustee Griffith moves to accept it as presented.
Trustee Pirro seconds.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving along to public speaks. Seeing none, we'll jump to the fire report. Chief Ruskin.
Would you like to?
Take your Lindsay first.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do that. We have Lindsay here tonight to be sworn in as captain, so we're going to do that next. Thank you, Lindsay. She's working, so if the radio rings, she might have to run out the door, I think.
She's like, what's the plan?
You just, what's the point? No, we don't want to jinx it.
Yeah,
We don't want to jinx it. Right. All right, I'm going to have you place your hand on the Bible here. And then I'm going to read this. I'm going to have you read it back to you. I state your name.
I, Lindsay,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will uphold
that I will uphold
and support the constitutions
and support the Constitution
and bylaws
and bylaws
of Osnaburg Township Fire Department
of Osnaburg Township Fire Department
and the constitutions
and the constitutions
of the United States of Ohio.
of the United States of Ohio.
Sorry, of the state of
Of
Ohio
the state of Ohio
and the United States of America.
and the United States of America.
Sorry, put that together. That I will fulfill
That I will fulfill
the duties of my office,
the duties of my office
and I will always
and I will always
provide all that is required
provide all that is required
as captain
as captain
of the Osnaburg Township Fire Department
of the Osnaburg Township Fire Department
to do the best of my ability.
to do the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Very nice. Thank you. Clue.
Yes. Okay.
The United States of Ohio. Yeah. But I know. Trump's doing a lot of stuff, but he hasn't. Perfect. I'm gonna have you sign that one for me too.
Yep.
Perfect. Thank you. And I'm gonna let you take that one,
Okay.
and I'm gonna keep this one.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. You too.
Yeah.
Be safe.
Congrats.
Oh, Tyler. Oh, Tyler. Tyler's pictures. Yeah. He had a big bunch of things.
Do you want to have a picture? Yeah.
Thank you.
Where's that? You just, yeah, I'm sending you yours right now. Oh, lovely. Thank you.
I said,
Good night.
see ya, you too.
Sorry, guys. I struggled through that.
Thank you.
All right. Tom, I'll let you go ahead and go through your report.
Okay.
For your-
Oh, thank you very much. We got the chainsaw, the Husker Barnyard chainsaw repaired from engine 241 at Tim Small Engine Repair here in Canton. We're also gonna have our chainsaw, the Echo chainsaw from Unit 249 service for PM At the same place, Tim Small Engine Repair, $65 for the PM, and then if he finds anything wrong with it, of course, there'll be additional charge for the parts.
Okay. I spoke to Chief Ruskin on the Husqvarna chainsaw. It was not working and it was midweek. And so we decided to make the executive decision to repair it, not replace it, because it's not that old and it's a good chainsaw. So that's why it's a then and now, because we needed to kind of get it going because it was not functioning on the truck. And then so I'll go ahead and make a motion.
What was wrong with it? Did they say?
There was actually, there was a whole list of things
Okay.
wrong with it.
So is it
Carburetor, spark
just
plug,
maintenance stuff?
yes,
Is it running good then?
it is running great. He said it's still a good saw. He said
Okay.
we should be able to get a few more years out of it, a couple
Great.
years out of it.
And then is that 65 for the Echo an estimate? Should we try to get a little,
That's gonna be the charge for the PM, for him to
Yep.
PM it,
okay.
and then, if there's any additional parts, they'll be.
All right, let's do two motions because it's two pieces of equipment. Trustee Varian moves to pay Tim Small Engine Repair $259 for the repair of the Husqvarna chainsaw in unit 241.
Trustee Pure, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Trustee Varian moves to pay Tim Small Engine Repair up to $70 to PM the Echo chainsaw in unit 249.
Trustee Pure, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, awesome. Okay, you can go ahead and keep going there.
Okay, and, Mr. Lowry, you wanted to talk on, 241 hubcap?
Yeah, I got a phone call here from Bruce at JMac. I did call him back, left him a message to let him know that we'll be discussing it. As far as Wendy at Atarma, she was off on Friday. I didn't get back with her today till late, but she didn't follow up with me yet. I don't have anything to report there. I was trying to get it to see if we can turn it back into our insurance or if it's a new claim or whatever, just to go through those steps before we do any final decision. I do not have that finalized yet.
Okay, so we'll table that, see if it's worth putting back in insurance. Okay. All right, magnetic mic clips.
Yeah, the new ambulance, they have a mic clip, so we want to order a mic clip, a magnetic mic clip for the new ambulance, and then replace the existing mic clip in the Medic 45 with the same clip.
Oh, they're same.
Yeah, the
Okay.
same magnetic clip.
Captain Palm got that information to me so I can order them online.
Okay,
Looks like the, let's see, get the cost.
Remind-
Yeah,
remind me of what's the new ambulance number? Did we use the
55,
255?
yes,
And then, I'm getting one from, what's the other unit we're getting it for?
245,
245. Okay, so both ambulances.
yes, sir.
All right, cool. Trustee Varian moves to pay up to $90 to Amazon to buy magnetic clips for both unit 255 and 245.
Trustee Griffith seconds.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
We're still working on our state broad training. We got 9 have completed it, and we have approximately 9 more to complete it. Or at least turn in certificates if they've completed it, their other jobs.
Okay. Great. Before we do, you need any action on that, or that's just an update?
No, that's just.
Okay, great. Before we move to calls, we've got a few more things. Oh, we got Lindsay sworn in. Okay, 45 was serviced today at C&B. Do we need a motion on that?
Usually.
Was that a PM?
There's an oil change.
Oh, okay.
We don't usually.
Cool. Sounds good. And then Levinson's Uniform will be the vendor for the OT FD fire uniforms.
Yes, we had used them in the past, and I had made contact with them, and they still have our account open, so.
Oh, great.
They said it's.
Do you need anything vendor-wise for that? Okay.
Captain Ruskin got that all for me.
Great.
And I just verified that everything was open right away.
Okay. Anything else for fire before we talk calls?
I do not have anything.
Can I just, in the public setting, say, like, I would like to remind people that March, April, and May were under a burn ban in Ohio, so from 6 to 6. From 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., it is illegal in the state of Ohio to do any kind of open burning. So it's just my now in the minutes
6 a.m.
reminder.
Okay. We usually put that on the sign too, don't we?
And we
It's
will,
going on the sign on Friday
Okay.
6:01, you can fire it up.
at night.
Yeah.
You can. I mean, legally, yeah.
Frank,
gave
did we
him-
put that on our website too?
It's on there, right?
It's on already. Yeah, March, April, and May. And because it's so dry still, like, this is
So-
the time when people are cleaning up and trying to.
I would pass it.
I mean, this might sound like a really silly thing, but does it make sense to send home a public bulletin through the public school? That just says, like, because most of the people that are burning a bonfire are gonna probably be families with kids, not always.
Yeah, but they can do that after 6 o'clock.
Yeah, I mean, is it just good to educate people? I don't know.
and we put
Paper's
it on the
reasonably
Facebook
cheap.
page as
Yeah,
well.
okay.
Yeah, but I don't know how many people actually go and look at your page. So they probably don't know that it's
Yeah.
National Burn.
Yeah,
And you're back, if you were out for on the main drag, when people drive by, but not that many drive back there. Yeah.
okay.
So,
All right, thank you for stating that in public forum that it is a burn ban. It's 3 months, right?
In the spring and then.
Spring and
in the fall.
fall. Okay, all right. Calls.
We had 37 calls since the last meeting, 25 ALS, 5 BLS, 2 fire calls. Mutual aid, we had 2 from Canton Township for second EMS calls and 2 from Louisville for second EMS calls, and 2 Nimishillen for a structure fire.
That's very exciting. So we had 1, 2, and we had 4, but they were all second calls.
Also,
So we did all of our first calls this past run period. That's awesome.
We had a day where we had 3 within
That's awesome.
like 45 minutes. So
Wow.
I mean, we covered 2 of them.
yeah,
Okay.
we have a group.
Wow. That's awesome. That's great. That's great. Thank you, guys. And thanks for this roster. This is a great piece of paper to have with everyone's numbers. That's awesome too. All right, anything else for fire?
I do not have anything.
Assistant Chief, do you have anything else for fire? Okay,
Yeah.
see ya. Thank you. Bye, Lydia. All right. Okay, moving along.
I don't think I got it last year.
Oh, this one?
Yeah, I don't have it.
Yeah, that's kind of nice because it's got everyone's cell phone, which I love that.
Oh, shoot, I miss Randy.
Oh my God.
I don't know if I need it or not. I just call Cliff.
Yeah, call me. All right.
Make sure I get one of those too.
Yeah,
It's nice for us
it's
to
nice
have that in the
Yeah,
office here.
yeah.
What you want one for? It was.
Cemetery report.
I talked to Ryan Shear today. He had nothing really to report other than he started to clean up. He started taking Christmas decorations down out of the cemetery.
Okay.
And he plans on a nice week. Everybody and her brother will probably be in the cemetery picking up stuff, and he's hoping they get 90% of it, so he don't have to.
Good. All right, road report, Mr. Unkelfer.
Good evening, everybody. If the trustees have read over the road report, is there any questions you'd like to ask?
Always.
Have you heard back from the road superintendent in Canton on Orchard View?
No, have not.
All right.
Did we have complaints that the roads fall apart?
Yes. Somebody wants.
Well,
to know-
they came back out,
It's
they came
bad.
back out, me and Brian actually talked.
I actually got to talk to him.
Yeah.
But he gave me a number and I did reach out to a guy that I said, how I got involved with it. They were talking about repairing and what they were doing, and it didn't sound like they were gonna plan on doing too much to that section of their patch.
Right, they did come out for the second time and plug some holes back up again.
But they're not planning on resurfacing.
No,
They
no.
haven't said anything about it.
Yeah, he said there was nothing on the books to do the resurfacing of that road. this
You've got to
year.
be careful how fast you drive. Like
Oh, yeah.
you could lose control. It's that bumpy.
And-
Which
I'm
road is
I'm
it?
gonna call one of
Orchard
the
View.
guys.
Yeah, Randy,
in front of the
he
court.
gave me a
Quarry.
number of
Oh,
the
yeah,
guy.
that's
Short bad stretch.
It's
What
bad.
I asked him is,
that a
I
lot.
said, you know how we
Yeah,
do
it's
joint
bad.
projects? Why couldn't they do a joint project with the engineer, with the
County.
with the county,
Oh, yeah.
with the the city on that section?
Yeah.
Or even have us involved with it, that we could do something on Orchard View all the way across, that we could do something jointly to help if it meant getting it done.
Have they ever done anything with that since that's been built?
Just
No.
patch.
No, but
Just
the,
patch
at
after
the-
patch.
I call it Brenizer Hill. That's what my mom and dad always called it. But the bottom of the hill, what they do, chip and seal there still at the bottom of the hill and up, and that up the hill is better than at the bottom.
Yeah.
Up the hill is smoother, but
But
Down
that's
at
the
the bottom, they
county,
haven't
that's
done
the
anything.
county.
Yeah.
They
that's the
stop
county.
right there at your.
That's the
little
county, you're
truck.
right.
Yeah.
You're right, that's the county.
They did, like we talked the last meeting, they did fix Burger, did a bunch of that, and the guy I talked to last fall said that they were gonna try to get out there and work on that stretch right there. It was really bad. But they
Okay.
never did, and now we haven't heard anything more about it. I was hoping they would clean the ditches out for sure. That's the first thing he's done out there is the ditches cleaned out. So let the water get away.
Have you guys been around looking at our roads? I did have somebody
Yeah.
complain to me that,
I just got a complaint tonight on the phone there before I walked in here from a lady called about out that big one on the hill there on Neiman's, going up past,
What, pothole?
Dude Nelson's place.
well, someone.
We're gonna start getting them like
I
crazy.
know. Well, I said the weather was so bad, the roads are falling apart. I mean,
That's right.
they are. So,
I mean, as soon as I know weather's gonna really break and we don't have to have the plows in there and stuff, we're gonna put them outside and start taking
Sure.
stuff off.
Yeah,
And I'll go right up and get the Durapatcher.
we're gonna get the dirt patcher going.
But you know,
What,
it's
do
gotta
you
be
know-
so warm for that Durapatcher to work right.
do you know which roads are on schedule for this year?
All of them.
What is on
No,
our
you mean
road?
for chip and seal?
Yeah.
I started a list already.
So, don't we have a rotating list?
Yes.
Okay.
And we have to finish up on
I'll get it.
Weimer,
Is this the main
Duble, Sam Crable south of 30, between Mapleton and 30. Neiman's between Mapleton and 30. And Hillvale right out here. That would be everything done south of 30. And then we jump on the other side and start going out like Sam Crable, Stuckey,
Well, maybe we
parks-
need,
Evening Star, Sendell.
Parks will get done under the grant.
we might need to look at the condition of roads. We might have to change around if some are falling apart.
Well, we can't jump all over the
That might
place.
be an extra then.
I'm saying, well,
Yeah.
That might
if the
be-
road's falling apart, it's falling
Right.
apart. We're gonna have to fix it.
Well, that
So,
doesn't mean those are gonna get chipped and sealed. I mean,
no, not
that
necessarily.
ain't gonna help
We
fix
may have
that.
put some asphalt down.
We just gotta go out and try to fix the bad spots with the Durapatcher,
Okay.
like I normally
We'll
do.
do some looking around. Yeah, I know there's some spots that
Yeah.
are,
And I talked to, I think it's Greg from Set up there in Canton, did all that work, come out, all the dirt out here
Oh, yeah.
on Westfall. And once they know they're done with that job here, which I think they're already done for the most part, they're gonna come out there and try to fix that bad spot coming up the hill.
The strangest thing with the whole winter, that thing never changed. It stayed
No,
the same.
but at least it isn't broke up.
No, it never moved.
Boy, you drive across it, man, it about shakes you right out of the truck.
Yeah. Go slower.
Trustees, I might suggest the Durapatcher, knowing it's gonna happen, you might wanna open a purchase order for, is it Russell Stover
Russell Standards.
Standard? Just to-
Yeah, we need to do that tonight because that way it's ready to go and I need to, if I wanna go, I've already got the stone up there. We got it last fall, like I've been doing, so it dries out. But yeah, we need
How
to
much,
try
what do we usually,
5,000?
what do we usually?
A
Well,
load's usually $700 to $800.
$700 to $800
so
every
You'll probably
load.
need 35 loads this year.
5,000, start out there.
5,000, I'm fine with that.
No, if you just get something to start up.
Trustee Gilman to do an open blanket for 5,000 for emulsion from Russell Standard.
Trustee Barry in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Opposed, same sign.
We did take the truck up to Pro Art and the new truck's all done.
Great.
Wording's on there, truck number, everything looks good.
Okay,
Don't have it undercoated or whatever yet.
oh, speaking of
Are
undercover,
you lined up with people for mowing this summer? Or are we still needing?
Mike just called me tonight before I came to the meeting, Wheeler. And he's been talking to a few people, friends, that he's gonna try to at least start out here in the next week, possibly or so.
Okay, good.
Coming back one day a week at first.
Okay.
He still has to try to be around there with Shelley. And if he can, maybe possibly 2 days, he'll see
Okay,
how it goes.
okay,
He did mention that to me, so I says, whatever you think you can do, that's
Right.
fine with us. It'll help us and it helps him get out.
Okay. All right, anything else on the report before we go to conversations about salt?
Oh, you want to talk about that, you can first.
Do you need to spend any money on shipping pads?
Okay. I'm waiting for Brenda to look.
I know, you spending money.
what are you asking about?
Which
You need
you're
I didn't ask about
You need to
nothing.
spend any money, or we
What
good?
you're
Oh, I'm not
determining,
asking,
I
I
didn't have
don't
to-
get any.
CUE,
All right,
CUE,
That wasn't even an option.
CUE wants a total by the end of this month,
okay,
that they go out to do their bidding process with Cargill and the suppliers to see what they can negotiate the price to.
Remind us, what's our overage and under limits?
It's 20% over,
okay,
so you gotta, whatever number you pick, you gotta buy at least that number, but you can go 20% over.
all right,
So, for example, to fill the bin, and I did talk to Stu about this 1,200 ton, for example, to fill it back up. You could go up, take that times 20%, add on. It should be what,
240.
Yeah.
Another 240 tons, so
Yep.
1,440 ton we could go.
or
At that new price.
at whatever new price is set, once they determine that price.
And what if we don't, well, we're gonna take it all at once
Yeah,
with the loader,
yeah.
so.
Yes. You want to take it all. at once
But
and
say
get-
we had a hard winter again this coming winter and we needed to get a little more, we know we can at least go another 240 ton
what's
at
in,
that same price.
what's in there now?
200, 250.
Okay.
So we figure we try to put about 1,200 in there. Should still fit. And then
What's,
Remember.
we were gonna go with 1440.
Remember,
You
two
what?
trustees to consider, if you get to 1,200 ton anytime after August 1st, say, just to fill it,
mhm,
that other amount, you don't have to buy it.
You don't have
but
to buy it
can
right
go the
now.
next year, but if you want to set it from 1,200, you could say, okay, let's go 1,400, and you can add on 20% of that, but we'd have to at least buy another 200 ton sometimes, for sure. You don't have to be part of that first load, but you got to buy it sometime.
if we did that,
We don't have any idea on the price.
Not yet.
You got to go by their history. They're at
4370.
Yeah,
right now.
4370 now. The year before they were at 52. I don't
So you
expect,
think you're gonna go down to 38.3?
well, I don't know if it'll go down
Boy,
there.
it'd be nice, wouldn't it?
It would be nice, but it's hard to tell. I don't think you're going to see $70 or $80 a ton like you have to pay for it now. But it's just,
so if we did 1,000 and not 1,200, then you have a 20%, and then that still get you to 14 if there's 200, if there's 200 out there.
Yeah, or 250, don't forget, we gave 100 ton to the village, or sold them.
So you're thinking 1440 total, or 1440 plus the 200 that's out there? Now you're at 16. Does that make sense?
Well, I was going on like 1,200, and then if you wanted to go the extra 20% over,
Could,
which would be 1,440, but you don't have to buy that all at that
Right.
away.
How many tons of grit we use this year?
Probably 8-10 ton of it.
okay.
What's the price of grit?
I don't know right now.
Ballpark.
Is it half of
I
salt?
think it was around 7. Man, it only used to be like $3-4 a ton, but everything's been jumping.
$7 a ton, is it that cheap?
Well,
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I can't remember, and
Oh, wow.
I need to call
So it's-
Charlie down
so
there
it's
and
a
find
fifth-
out.
It's a fifth of a ton of salt.
what's the name of the vendor we got it off?
That's
So grit is a fifth
Phoenix.
of the cost.
unless they change their name.
Let me just look here.
How do we get the grit? Do we go get it?
We go get it right there in Magnolia.
Okay. So we haul it in our trucks.
Yeah, we just haul it and bring it up here to the old salt bin and put it in there.
All right.
Do we know if the compiler would blend it?
No, it's too hard to do that. You can't do it.
How's it too hard to do?
Because they're coming in there and backing up there quick and stuff, and we'd have to be there all the time with them to try to go up there and onto the trucks. We're not always there when they start to do that, because they got their whole crew and they got trucks, semis coming in there, and they
So-
unload pretty fast.
So what's the process right now? How do you mix the grit now?
We bring some down there and put it in there and go off to the side and spread it on there and mix it in.
Okay.
Keep loading. There's still a pile sitting there and behind right where the truck's back in to get loaded.
So you kind of mix it on the concrete
Yeah.
floor and then scoop.
We go up onto the pile and
Yeah.
kind of dump it along there and then mix
Okay.
it in.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
When you see it's kind of gone, then we put more in there.
So what's, I mean, I'm being naive when I say this because maybe I just don't know. But if grit's a fifth of the cost of salt, well,
Right.
maybe I should say this. Why do we put grit in there?
Some people want it.
What's it do?
It helps a little, maybe a little with traction at times, but
It's dark, it'll trap heat too on sunny days.
Okay.
Yeah, the grit will melt.
the
when it's
thing
too
is,
cold
in
for
the
ice to
end,
melt.
you got a mess everywhere and I gotta go out and broom the heck out of all the roads and it all goes in the ditches and the ditches fill up.
Trustees, last year for Phoenix on 11/12, you purchased 34.49 tons at $6.50 a ton.
Oh gosh, it's cheap.
I don't know what it is now though.
It's up over that probably, I think,
Okay.
but I don't know what the new prices are.
I think you're close.
I'll
to
find
it.
out.
So at 1,000 ton, you're still at your 1,440 with what's out there. At 1,200 ton, you're at 1,600 if you bought the 20%,
Yeah.
right? Those are our numbers.
I think 1,000, then you got the option.
You got the option by the
You
12.
got the option for another 200.
Another
with
200.
And then blend in some more grit.
Randy, I thought about that, what you said though, you know, in the very beginning, about having somebody there could go up there, you know, and every time a semi comes up there, you know, like take a bucket or whatever and
Should
you
get
know,
the
hit it
farmer's
3 different
market.
spots in the trailer and then let them back up and the next guy trying to do that, but
No.
somebody's gotta be there the
Is it
whole time to
bad?
do
Is
that.
it
And
bad?
sometimes we're really
Yeah,
busy
right.
and we're out doing
Unusual for
stuff.
us to have too much.
Well, I
No, I
don't
agree.
care
I
how
agree.
you blend it in. I just
I don't
thought that. it's
You know what I'm
an idea,
saying?
But I think we need to blend more in. The more salt we put down, that's hard on roads too. That's gonna bust them up.
I know that.
Yeah,
Uh,
right, it will.
And,
Salt's
and,
terrible.
and, I mean, this is a fraction of the cost.
Yeah,
You guys
I
ever
wanna
looked
get into the
into
point where
ash?
we can't fix the road because we're spending too much on salt.
are we allowed to put ash down?
Who says we can't?
I don't know.
Yeah.
What's Pennsylvania do?
When I worked for Brown Township, we put ash, grit, and salt together.
Really?
Ash and grit's a lot cheaper than salt,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
but you gotta have a place, you
To
know.
put it together.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's a
Okay.
lot of mixing.
Okay. Is
But-
ash as cheap as grit?
I don't know. I can't even remember. I can't really tell you that.
Okay.
And I don't even know where it came from. That was way too many years ago.
Yeah. Okay.
That was before.
But with ash and grit and salt, it's going to make your pile go a lot longer, right?
The other thing is you gotta get it all mixed.
Yeah. Okay.
How
And
much
that's the
money
big
you got set aside for salt?
We got 50-60,000 if you.
Because you're at 1,000 ton, you're at 45 grand.
And Randy too, this year and
Should
even
figure out
last year,
50,000.
they have us where you have to go online and fill it out, whatever you decide on. And then they have their meeting right after,
I'm gonna say it's gotta be 55
in
cents.
April, and they'll get back with us
It's gonna cost us
sometime in the end of
50,000.
April and let you
Yeah.
know what it is locked in, the price of it.
It was 44. Yeah, 52.8.
Yeah.
So, so to stay in our budget, to stay on our 50,000 budget, if we do 1,000 and then 20% gets us 12, and then what's out there gets us 14, 15. You good for that?
We should be.
You wanna buy the 20% now?
No,
No,
Oh,
no.
that's-
I'm just saying if we need it.
No, yeah,
I'm just saying if we need it. I'm saying buy 1,000,
Buy
which puts us
1,000.
at 43
Alright.
grand, 44 grand. And then if we buy 1,000, if we need the 200, we're still in
Right,
our budget. We're
right,
still under
right,
50
right.
or at 50.
I'm good.
Are you good for that?
I'll make the motion.
Alright.
Trustee Creel moves to allocate 1,000 tons to the queue.
Chris seconds.
What was the amount?
1,000 tons.
Okay.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, good. Anything else for road?
Yes. We took, the Chevy truck 202.
Mhm.
I think I mentioned it at the last meeting that the back rear end was out of alignment. And we took it up this morning to Superior Spring.
Oh, yeah.
They pulled it in there, pulled the U-bolts loose on it, checked everything out. It looked good. Lashed her back down, put it on their rack.
Great.
And said it was straight.
Great.
It charges nothing.
Oh, geez, that's super nice.
They didn't charge nothing.
They're old.
And they said bring it back next week and they'll double torque the U-bolts.
Because they'll loosen as you drive it, yeah. They're old.
I couldn't believe it.
Their old alignment rack is cool. It's like,
They did all that and didn't charge nothing.
that's
Nope.
nice. All right, good. And we're
So,
driving
okay,
straight.
now, I mentioned about the brakes on it. We've never had the brakes done on that truck since we've owned it. And the front ones are warped. I got two different quotes here from R&B's and Ziegler's doing brakes. Now,
Is this
one-
just front?
no, whole way around.
Okay, because the rear disc too.
Ziegler's on their quote, if you look at it there, Randy, they're wanting to put calipers and everything on there. New calipers. I don't know if we really need new calipers. I mean, but
Depends on if they're froze up or not.
Right. Well, they're, so they're $100 less with new calipers?
yeah. Ziegler's is where we got the tires and they did the front end alignment on it and stuff.
Well, this is a better deal.
And that's with the really good rotors too, the
Yeah,
expensive
you're
ones, the
getting
good
everything
ones.
changed on that.
That thing's pulling.
It's $100 less.
If approved, how
That
quickly
conversation
you'll
needed
want
to
to
be
do this?
If approved, how quick do you want to do it?
If it was approved, that's all I need to know, because we're under temporary appropriation right now.
We need to
Okay.
wait.
We actually are okay as long as there's nothing else coming down the pipe right now, that's what.
There's only one darn thing I gotta talk about.
Oh, jeez.
That's what I'm.
You don't know that. What else do you
The
have?
the rears aren't bad.
I don't know.
The fronts definitely need it, is what you're
Yeah, they're
saying.
warped. The fronts
Fronts
are
are
warped. You're
warped.
fearing a warp.
We could get the fronts done. That's gonna,
I don't know. I'd rather go with them because they always take care of us. But that's just me.
I just am surprised that, wonder if he's got that in there and he just doesn't have it listed up there, because I can't believe that they would be, look at what they got. I guess that's got everything, the seals and the rotors.
The seals are probably for the rear axles.
Yeah, rear
Yeah, I
axle
mean,
seals.
You gotta pull those on it.
Yeah, those full floaters have to be pulled.
Yep,
Mhm.
and you gotta have the new seals.
Because the hub disc is part of
He
the.
doesn't have it
hub.
listed.
But if you guys just wanna do front right now and
Front and go here.
Yeah.
I'd
That's fine.
I'd prefer.
I'm gonna make a motion that we do just the front, and we do it RV's truck and trailer.
I'd rather do it with our
Okay.
guys. I'd rather.
And then
that's fine,
we'll see what happens with that.
They take care of us. I'd rather stick with them.
it's fine. I'm fine with that.
So what do you want to
Well,
How do you wanna
I
do
mean,
this? Do you wanna
do you want it why it's there to have them, they can
check?
check the
We
back
probably
and see
should
what
check
what
them.
they think,
Yeah.
to see where they think.
And then we can make a decision. I mean,
Right.
We don't
later
have
on.
a cost for it, so it's gonna be less than,
it's gonna be less than that.
less than
number.
2,000, so
Yeah. So we'll make a motion for. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's have them do the fronts. Let's have R&B's do the fronts and check the backs. We'll see where we
The
are.
backs get expensive when you do that because of pulling the axles. The
Oh yeah, there's a
seals.
whole
It's a
lot
lot
goes
more
into it.
involved back there
Yeah.
than the fronts actually, from what.
All right, Trustee Varian moves to pay R&B's truck and trailer up to $2,000 for truck 202 for a front brake replacement, and we're also going to
And
ask
rotors.
and rotors, pads, rotors, calipers if needed, and we're going to ask them to check the back, and then we'll make a decision from there.
Griffith seconds.
All those in favor?
All right.
Do you need those back?
No,
Okay.
you guys can keep them there. And then the other thing, truck 201, the bit, that's the one we do the Dura patching with, because it's set up and everything for that. The bed is terrible on that thing, the floor in there. So I ran up, I took the truck up there and let Jeff and them look it all over and measure it and everything to put a new hard off floor in there.
Touch
And
steel.
they're not gonna cut the other one out. They're
They're
just
just
gonna,
gonna
Is that
form
steel?
that one.
they're gonna form that one to fit right over top it and weld it in
Okay.
and everything.
Cover what's there.
Here it is.
Oh, you won't even tell. It's just
And the
fastened with a
front,
piece of paper.
at the
It's not
front,
good.
up against the front of the bulk, up about a foot or so.
Oh, he's gonna do a bulkhead too?
Well, about coming off the floor about so high, foot and a half up.
And this is steel.
Hard ock on the floor,
Okay,
probably just, I don't know if it's hard ock on the,
it's Buck Hill.
We have to hold that one.
Buck Hill. Oh, yeah.
it's gonna have to be done because we keep trying to mend that floor and plug that floor up and
Well, I'm
Can
not
we wait
saying,
they're getting so thin.
I'm not saying it doesn't have
We're
to be.
between temporary appropriation.
Can we wait
I know.
We're gonna have to
till
wait.
permanent appropriations on this one?
Yeah, if you table that, just run
All
back up.
Well, I think we ought to be able, for dirt patching, you ought to be able to get this new truck out there using it some.
It ain't set up the same for it. It's taller. No, Randy, when you start trying to do that, we gotta change all kinds of stuff around.
Back up.
You don't even see how the spout has to go in the back there for that to come out of it and everything.
All right.
That's all stainless steel. It's a lot harder to deal with drilling holes and doing everything on there. And whether it'll even reach right coming out of it down into that holding area.
All right, let's
Put it back on your agenda.
Yeah,
Not-
let's
not next time,
table
but a
and
month.
we'll come back once permanent appropriations are in place.
That's fine. I'm just saying it's gonna get really bad here over the next year.
And if you even want to call Buck Hill and say, hey, we're gonna wait for this project, you know, just
For a
to
month.
leave them
Oh,
hanging.
yeah.
Cause I'm sure it's a bunch of work. $3,000 looks like a lot of money, but it's also a lot of work. There's a lot of welding and
Still is
forming and it's, I mean,
It is,
the
'cause they
plate's
gotta
got to
bend
be put in
it
by a
and
crane. You're
get
ever
it
gonna
to
slide that
fit.
plate
It
up by
goes up the
yourself.
sides a little bit.
Yep, okay. All right, we're gonna table that.
All right.
Come back to it. All right, anything else for road?
No.
All right, we're moving on. How about zoning?
Okay, since last meeting, had 3 permits issued, so stuff is picking up for zoning side of things.
Great.
As far as the nuisance side, there isn't a whole lot of change. I did let the prosecutor's office know about the kid playing in the house on Indian Run, but I haven't heard anything back since,
Okay.
so.
I got a phone call from a resident on Broadway. Can I get an update on Broadway?
Most of the vehicles there are allowed, they don't meet our requirements. I did notice one
Wait,
new.
they don't meet the state's requirement.
Yeah,
The state's requirement for a junk vehicle.
Yeah.
Is there a state requirement on the number of vehicles on property before you're a dealer, or does it not matter?
not that I'm
Okay.
aware of.
All
I
right.
did see one that will most likely make it, as
Okay.
a junk vehicle. The problem with it is because they move them in and out, they aren't there long enough for us to do something about them. And that's coming from the
Okay.
prosecutor's
Yeah,
office.
and the other thing, if we found one that was a junk vehicle that we wanted to have removed, we have to pay to have a title search done to make sure and have a title for it
Mm-hmm.
before we can get a vendor to come and pick the car up.
Yep.
And then there's this value process with it.
Okay.
And I don't even remember all the details of a certain amount, I think goes back to the individual then or something like that. It gets complicated.
And then on a separate note, like an in-home business without permit, that's a whole different thing. The complaint from the resident was, I mean, they're working there every day.
Mhm.
They're wrenching on something in the building every day. So
Yeah.
without a sign in the front yard, without the right zoning and all that. So that was,
And I asked the prosecutor's office because the one who contacted me about it said they have a trucking company or something that's registered to that
Okay.
house.
okay.
And the prosecutor's office was checking on it, but they weren't clear
All right.
if there was anything that we could do about that.
All right.
with
I
it
will
being
call the
business.
resident back and give an update. Thank you. All right. Anything else for zoning?
That's all I have. for
Okay.
now.
Thank you. All right. Old Township business updates to 6 emails. Complete working on website updates now.
Chair trustees, I put your mailboxes on a site where I got those updates down to 6 emails. I changed the security down to those 6. There's a blanket on the whole thing. There's one, it's not that much, but the other one, you asked me just to keep it on the office and on my fiscal office. So that those moves have been made. The original, having the emails, 12 of them cost like $1,200 a year. Now that's cut in half. The original cost on having all 12 of them secure was over $1,300. That's cut down less than half.
Great.
So I think we're gonna be under $1,000. Once I figured it up with all this stuff, it looks like it's under $1,000.
That's a good savings.
Yeah, but it makes me feel comfortable about the security on them. And there again, I'm talking to Phil, I'm talking to Bill, our IT guys. It just seems like some of these, whether it's GoDaddy or any of them, sometimes they're trying to sell you all this stuff. And they were very understanding when I dropped them. You know, they didn't try to sell me, but, oh, you're going to regret this. And they understood. I said, hey, we're on a budget. You know, the trustees wanted to shave this down, and that's what we did.
Okay. New business, approval to pay annual Sedgwick
Yeah,
contract workers.
you know,
comp.
this is the time of year, trustees. I just received that today, and I just want to show you. It's an annual fee. This is our HMO, like that represents if there's a workers' comp claim, they advise us, all that stuff. That's the group that we're in now.
I don't need to do it.
And it's
Just see it.
It's just a yearly thing.
And this doesn't happen, this happens with a motion, is that
Yeah,
correct?
Yeah, it's just, you should make a motion in case something.
Brian, is this fee based on our number of employees then, or?
Well, the fee on your workers' comp definitely is based on employees, and then, like, for example, the fire department, depending on if they're on call or not, that's why it's important to have those calls, like the way Tom and Amy have done in the past. We break that all down, because if you put all calls or all fire on there, it would make it, our
Yeah,
rates
right.
really jump up.
Sure.
And then all our staff
Doesn't say anything
here,
on this about,
like all our
employees.
staff here is on a different level too. It's lower.
Yeah. Have you compared pricing? That seems kind of high.
No, actually, I don't want to say I got it in writing, but it's not high. It's very competitive with everybody else
Okay.
based on what the Bureau has gave us as an analysis, because they asked me to do a census and I gave it to them. And they actually, that's the highest rated company right now in the
Okay.
state of Ohio.
Okay.
trustee Varian moves to pay Sedgwick $1,420 for our contract for workers' comp.
Trustee Pruitt, second.
All those in favor?
All right.
Fiscal Officer Lowry would like to speak on permanent appropriations.
Yeah. One reason I'm stepping out here, rather to talk to everybody, because regarding what I want to talk to you about is just to let you all know, all the departments, because you're all represented here, and the trustees, what I've been going through. And first thing, I would just like to give updates that I have that are going on right now. Updates that I'm going to start off with, and I think earlier was able to talk to Tom and the trustees that we did receive that $8,000 check for the squad. So I would ask that we need to find out when they're going to pick this up so I can take it off the insurance and just get those updates out of the way, just to confirm all that stuff. I have the title in here. I want to make sure we get that clean and cleaned up, okay? On our state taxes, last year, part of finishing up the year, there's every month I have to pay, I think all of you that are in business know you pay state, federal, all these different taxes. At the end of the year, thinking that everything was okay, I go into January, and because you're working on multiple authentic sites, it didn't show that I made a payment in 2024. It was like $1,495.09. And if you look at the bank recs that you all got tonight, you're going to see that reflected on that I didn't get a credit back because I overpaid. It didn't show up till January. if you also look at the treasurer's report, I wanted to point out with Mary's stuff on zoning, I put an added line in there, if you're gonna take a look at that, that reflects all her fees that she collects in the office. You'll see that as one amount, and then you're gonna see a total. That C and D, landfill, we collect about 10 to 12 grand. I never really have been taught to show that to you that much. I mean, it's on the numbers, but I want to show you how that does help in case anything ever happens to that landfill. Because that dollar amount, to have that total, keeps us more in balance of what we spend on Mary's salary, the zoning people, the zoning books. And why I'm saying all this is all gonna lead into what the budget has to do with when we do permanent appropriation.
You're saying that zoning, there's a new zoning line on here?
Yeah, what you see down here on the, right here, this one.
Oh, so the bottom. Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Where you see the three, you'll see that total. And then when you look at what you collect, it puts those numbers very close. So when I look at that, it kind of balances it out.
Yeah, it's supposed to, and I've been
Yeah.
watching, I couldn't understand why we weren't, now I
Yeah.
do.
Well, it never
I didn't know
was,
it was in
because here's why it never was. And talking to Sue, it was never supposed to be counted as part of funding the zoning, because it could close up tomorrow. And if you go out and you spend and budget out to use it all the time, which I don't normally use it, but I happen to now a little bit because of the zoning fees, not zoning fees, but the zoning personnel, both Mary's salary and stuff in there. I like to look at that so you can see it now, because it balances out. By the end of the year, you might have a payout of $15,000 to $18,000, but you've collected $15,000 to $18,000. But if you take that fee off of C and D, it looks like you might only collect $5,000 or $6,000.
Right.
So it's like we're always in the rears on that.
Okay.
But I have to consider that when I'm writing a budget for the general fund on it. Another thing I want to give updates on is everybody hears about the American Rescue money. I'm proud to say this part, we got everything that you trustees and departments needed, your ambulances, fire hoses that we got earlier, small attorney fees, we got the road truck. Those are infrastructure, all these things are done, so that's off of the, when you look at your treasurer's report, you'll see there's zero
It's
in
zero
that
across the
American
board.
Rescue.
Yeah.
Now, here's what I'm gonna tell on myself. I get a call, which I knew it was coming. Back in 2024 in April, I had to turn in an American Rescue update in April 2024. Right prior to that, I was struggling getting on their website. And why I struggled is because there was so much security going on, and we just came off of having a breach on some emails last year around that time. I couldn't get on there. They said, oh, just go on there and get it done. Well, with everything going on, I never did, because nothing changed from when I did it in 2023, because you already had appropriated and said what you were going to spend that money on, these infrastructure and all this stuff. So with that being said, I never got the report done in 2024. The call today was from Chris Nichols from Canton Township. Heidi Fott down in Ohio Township. Wanted to let him know that there was one for sure and two possible other Stark County entities that didn't file their report last year. And guess who was on there? Me. So what they did is I got to do an online course here on Wednesday to catch this up before the end of April. It's very important. I was happy to get these vehicles in here. You can see that it's showing zero balances. We've done what we needed to do with that money, but I don't have it on the federal government's website yet.
Okay.
So it looks like we haven't completed, and I hate to say I'm the guy in Stark County that's the only guy that didn't have it. They had two others, but Heidi's note basically said names of townships, and there's two townships, but there's like, I think in our state of Ohio, there's like 6 townships named the same thing, but they didn't tell which ones it was. So he was just kind of blanketing us all in there. So I've fallen short on that, but I plan on getting that up to date. So we got that clear, but that has been a load of work these last 2 years, just so you know.
Are you gonna close 2273?
I will eventually close 2273 after the end of this year. You're gonna still see it on there.
Okay.
If I would run that report true, you would see those old cemetery funds are still on there, all the capital funds are still on there, but they have zero balances. The reason you can't take them off, as long as you had a capital fund, you have to wait till 2 years after to take them
Remove
off.
it off.
Because in case you have to go back and look at anything, so you don't want to take them out of there right away. So when you get that treasury report, I click them off, so they're not on there. But the ones we just did here after the first of the year are still on that treasury report. Okay, this is a year I get audited. Every 2 years I get audited. They haven't set that time, but I did post the audit for public notice that I did the unaudited. It's on the website. The Ohio ambulance grants that Trustee Varian was signed on with me. We actually had 2 of them that helped out with the premium pays to finish up in 24 at the beginning, or I'm sorry, 23. They were just doing all their final compliances and stuff, and they just got with me on that and I had to confirm with them that all that money had been spent and what it was spent for. So that was something big that was on my plate for the last couple of years. I also know that moving forward, I know we have the Parks Road project that Randy and the other trustee, we're working on that. That project, we'll be working on that, and we have to take that in consideration on a road program, because I know we still have to do prep and stuff and keeping that all in there. So on the updates, there's probably other things, but I think those are big when I go to write this permanent appropriation, okay? And I want you to be aware of it in case you got questions, but the American Rescue is the big one for me. I want to make sure I get that cleaned up and get my name and our township's name off that hit list right now, because it's on there right now.
Okay.
All right, now as for reminders, this is kind of because everybody here has been here for years now, but it's a reminder I like to do to remind the fire department, road department, zoning, and you trustees that in the history, when I go back in history, there was always a resolution about purchasing in between meetings, like purchase orders, purchase things in there. And I've been very adamant on, you hear the word then and now, we don't want to use them unless there's an emergency. But that's a common thing that through my training, they bring up that they don't want to see a lot of that.
Okay.
They want to see you three making those decisions on a prepared forum where, let's say tomorrow morning, something happens at the fire department, tomorrow morning, something happens at the road. We just don't go, yeah, go ahead and get it. And I know there's liaisons overseeing that. We got all 4 of us need to communicate along with decide if that can wait until the next meeting. And if it can't, because it's an emergency situation, that's when that then and now I'll make available at all costs to keep us moving. But
How is that a then and now if you don't write the check?
it's because when the purchase might be done or the billing might be done will reflect the date prior to the next meeting. And
But what's the difference then us of doing a resolution on a bill? That's showed up here.
it's a then and now has to be done.
Well, I'm saying, why do you have to call it? So let's say tomorrow the wheel busts off the truck
Right.
and you fix it and the bill shows up the Friday before the next meeting.
Well, here,
How is that a then and now?
that's a good question, but I'll go in. If that wheel falls off the truck, you need to fix it immediately. That's an emergency situation. Here's the problem is I don't ever get to know that a lot of times when those kind of things happen. I see an invoice come emailed to me and I got to go chase around and see what happened. Communication, that's why I mentioned this. I got to know that when that wheel falls off and we're going to be spending some
Oh, I
money.
absolutely agree with that.
I think
Yeah.
he's asking, why is it called a then and now? But it's because you already received the product and we didn't approve to buy it.
Yes, at
That's
that point in time, but you are doing it at the next meeting with a
Yeah.
then and now. But you don't want to do that on the normal, like say it's a week from now and Stu needs some road or a fire department needs something that, okay, yeah, we need this. Let's go ahead and get it and order it. And now the bill comes into me prior to you doing a formal.
Oh, I don't
Because it's
think
dated.
so. Yeah.
Well, that, just so
The
you
only
know,
time
that's
that-
been happening. That's been happening. That's
Well,
why I'm
one should
bringing
be
that up.
ordered
What
over
are the-
$250 unless it's
Yeah.
rented.
What
That's
are
why
the
I wanna
thresholds?
remind
Is it
that-
all 250 on every entity?
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay.
because the 250 in past history was at the fire and was at the road. I will point out, I'm very lenient on trying to work with this, like, I'll use Metzger's as the example. If the road department or fire department goes up there on a Monday or a Tuesday after a meeting and they go in there and buy $100 and then they turn around on Thursday and buy another $200, they just bought $300.
Right.
You gotta be careful of that. If there's something that really needed to be done, try to make that one trip or two trips in a period of 2 or 3 weeks and try to get it all and have it prepared, because you can do one other thing, you guys, is open, just like we did with the emulsion. They could come and say, hey, we need to make some purchases. It looks like it might be $300 or $400. They could come tonight and say, hey, we need to buy $300 or $400 worth of stuff. And you trustees
Oh,
could
yeah.
decide, I can open a purchase order, then they got a green light to go get that stuff, okay? Now, that's where those super blankets you allow me to do, but the super blankets are supposed to be used like for utilities,
Yeah,
such as the
specific.
electric bill, the phone bill. It can't be used just to go out and buy stuff
Right.
Right.
in general, okay? So why I'm bringing that up, I just am having a lot of, I don't want it to be, I always try to make it work, but I want to point out how important that is when an auditor looks at my books. Because they look at that. That's one of the things that sends up a flag. The other
I think
thing,
it's that our supervisors need to make sure they go back and tell the people.
Yeah.
Don't go buying anything unless I tell you you can buy it.
Yeah.
And-
I don't ever let them go just get something without even letting me know.
the biggest thing I have is.
Ryan's the only one to be able to do that.
When I get notice, whether it's fire or Stu and road, Stu and I'm usually out of here sometimes, or not, him and I don't communicate or something, because I'm going off to my job at 8 o'clock after I've been in there a few hours or whatever it may be. I don't want to encumber anybody not to get something if you need it. What I'm trying to do is I just want to be more accountable for it, because I'm doing a lot of stuff that I shouldn't be doing a lot of to make it work.
Right.
Okay, and that's why I'm trying to say that in an open forum with you guys. If you want to ask questions, what do I mean?
Mhm.
The best thing to do is tonight, if you guys all needed something, any one of us needed something, have it to me before the meeting, just so I know. And then when you trustees talk it over and you look over at me, I'm gonna give you the thumbs up, we got the money, it makes it run smoother. But then I know there's always gonna be that emergency situation happen, I'm gonna work through that. But I need to know that. That brings up the liaisons. I know that Randy, you oversee the road, Brenda, you oversee zoning, and Cliff, you oversee fire. Make sure, I'm saying this as elected official to all of us, that when something happens, that when it comes to a purchase, make sure you're doing it in this forum right here as much as possible for my sake. So when I write up the resolutions and I write it up, that it's done, as all three of you are on the same page, or have at least brought it to you. To me, I know Tom, I'm talking to him and talking to Stu sometimes, a liaison would be, say Stu calls Randy, hey Randy, we need this. Randy, oh, go ahead and get it. Well, sometimes Randy will say, hey, check with Brian, which happens, or same thing with Tom. Cliff would say, we need to run by Brian, because I want to make sure I have the money here when you guys get together, or have it prepared when you guys get together. So that's very important to me, so.
But I would say if it's over 250 and it's not an emergency, you shouldn't be telling them to get anything till it comes through here.
I never did.
That would be a
No,
good
I'm just
move.
saying that's what he's
yeah.
saying.
Oh, yeah.
That's a
No,
good
that's what
move.
he's saying, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, but I'm trying to say it respectfully, because I don't want to sit there and say, these guys are scared to go get something, because it could happen. I just need to know.
Yeah, the only time anything
Okay.
in between should be
Yeah.
an emergency.
It's one thing if something breaks down on the road, we gotta get it fixed to get it out of there.
Middle of a snowstorm, it happened.
Well, example, the chainsaw that come through.
Yeah.
I thought about it, but that chainsaw is an emergency
Emergency
need for you.
situation.
Because if you get called out, you have to have it working.
Yes.
So
That's
to me, that was an emergency, that was acceptable to do it the way you did it, and that's why we did it then and now.
And Tom did right. He called me, we had a conversation, and we said, fix it now.
And Tom got me the information prior to the night's meeting, so I have it somewhat heads up. That's what I need, and I can make it happen. So I know my goal is to have your permanent appropriations for the next meeting prepared, but I'm taking a lot of this stuff into consideration. There's a lot more things that go on. I know one of the things that I would think that I want to thank the trustees publicly that when I would come to you when I knew that Sue, my secretary, was going to be leaving in February of next year. I asked for a budget adjustment. You guys were able to do that for me. Wasn't as much as I asked, but that's okay. It's very workable. I know I picked Mary, and I think all of you all were in agreement for her to help out. But I know when Sue leaves, not knowing where's Mary's status at that time, Mary might not be able to work those kind of hours to fill that whole void, but she'll have, I feel, a lot of knowledge by then to be able to help me in a lot of areas. But I still would openly want to say I am not planning on retiring at the end of my term yet, but somebody may run against me and want this job, and you never know. But I always want to have someone that if anybody's out there that would be interested in helping, I could put somebody in once Sue officially retires to help me, that we could have a township resident like Mary. I hate to say, but she's not in our township yet, but it could happen. You never know. But if something happens, I want to have that all my bases covered when I leave here. Because Sue was generous enough to be able to come in here and work back with me. And you think about her years of service. She left for about 4 years, came back, started working for me. That's been an asset to me. I want to be able to do the same and pass that on. Okay. So if there's someone out there that we can groom or get in there and give them a little taste of this with Mary and Sue around still, be great. And I can keep it within the budget you approved for me. Okay. You have any questions, concerns?
So you're running one more time.
I'm
Correct.
planning on, and yeah, my one more term is
So
what
we
I
got at
can.
least 6 years yet.
Yeah. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I'd like to have it where I have somebody here that maybe I could say it's time to go.
It is
but-
always good practice for someone to know your job in every business.
Yeah.
That is just good business practice for someone to know how to do it.
I just know when I came in here to work for Sue, and you trustees at the time hired me, it was an asset to have her there.
Yeah.
If you walk in here green,
Oh,
this place could fall apart real quick because a lot of people think they understand it, but it's different. Government accounting is totally different.
Yeah.
And it's something that I get calls from old accountants that I had in business that, hey, I'm a fiscal officer now, and they have no idea. And I'm thinking, my God, you helped me for years, and you're a CPA. No, Brian didn't have any idea this is how it works. So I just think that I don't want to just up and say, oh, I'm retiring next month or at the end of the year. I want to be able to plan something out and have somebody in there for us.
okay.
Okay?
All right, sir. Thank you.
All right.
Scog, Brenda.
Okay, so I went to the quarterly SCOG meeting on March 4th, which it was a shock that it was the same night as the health department meeting, but I had to go to SCOG because that's where I was. And Brian, just for you, a couple of things. They're looking at bringing that DNA testing lab to Stark County, and they're in the process of it, but they're giving us a warning that our annual fees that we end up paying through our taxes is going to increase 40 to 50%.
That's on the yearly tax,
Yeah.
off the property tax, because there is
Yeah.
fees for the Stark County.
Yep.
And it's around $20,000 right now.
Well, they're saying it's going to be a 40, 50% increase.
That's a big chunk of change.
So I just want you to put that back in the back of your brain because that'll
Will
jump
they
in there.
officially say it when they do it so we can prepare?
Yeah,
That's a
I mean,
lot of money.
they gave us the warning. The new sheriff was there for the first time. Also, the state of Ohio is putting through short-term rentals. And they're requiring, and they've checked the different townships. Supposedly, we have one registered short-term rental in our township. And we're supposed to be coming up with, through our zoning, some type of form, which we do have for rentals, but the state is saying that they're gonna get charged taxes on the rental fees they're collecting, and we have to collect those taxes.
It's a hotel fee, is pretty much what it is.
Yeah.
It's
But
what
we-
hotels have
but
been
we
doing for
have to
years.
collect them now.
Wow, the
That's-
township.
I've heard that one.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so that still hasn't quite passed, but they're pretty
Okay.
sure it's gonna pass.
Huh.
And yeah, they're calling it a lodging tax.
Yep, right.
It's gonna hit short-term rentals.
Right.
So on that application, Mary, that we do have, which I don't know who the one is, I guess we could find out. Do we know?
Mhm.
Oh,
I applied for the short-term rental years ago.
okay, you're
It's
gonna
me.
get taxed, bud.
Yep.
Okay.
I
fill
think you
that
have my
in
paperwork in
yours.
your, I think it's my cabin on the farm, you
Yeah.
rented the brides.
Mhm.
You should have all the paperwork. for it.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, now build in your tax.
Yep, okay.
Okay,
I'll be the guinea pig.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we
fine.
gotta figure it out on our end too.
Yep.
So, and then last thing, we did get all of our Marks radios all updated, because they keep hassling us that they have to be done here by, I think, July 1st.
July 1st, yes, we did have the link layered onto all of our radios.
Okay, so we are good on everything.
We are good.
All right, I just
Great.
wanted to confirm that.
That's great.
So that was all very long, interesting Scott meeting. While we were sitting here, I did get a response back from the state on our Sucos Park grant. And because we're kind of hung up right now, waiting for our environmental study, and we're going to be putting it out for bid soon. But the state says it doesn't matter. I was worried that because we haven't been able to give them the application yet,
Mhm.
the second phase application. And they said it doesn't matter. The deadline that we have to know is June 30th of 26. Everything on the grant has to be done and completed.
June 30th, 20. Oh, we have
26.
26. Oh, we have
And
time. now.
our goal is to have it completed by the end of this year, 25.
Oh, good.
So that's my goal.
All right.
So that made me feel good to know that.
Okay, did we pay the undercoating guy for the ambulance?
Yeah.
Thank you. I want to just make a point. I will be out of town with my family for the next meeting. It happens to be spring break for East Canton and the local school, so we're going to be out of town for that time, so I'll miss the next meeting. I apologize. This is just a point of clarification for the committee, and I don't know if any of you have heard this. I heard through a friend of mine that the Trump and 30 corner is getting the sheets. Have you guys heard that?
I've heard.
It's already started.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
the
they've moved
corner-
cars from that
Yeah,
old building,
the opposite corner of the
opposite
gas
corner of
station
the
that's
speedway. Okay,
there.
just
And
curious.
the only thing I thought maybe, because that's one of the highest accident areas in Stark
It is.
County.
It is the highest
I
accident
know.
intersection in Stark County, which is kind of crazy.
Maybe they're thinking that's gonna help
I don't know.
because it's hard to get
Sheets
gas.
are a big footprint. If you look at a sheet
Mm.
store, it's a big area. It's gonna be a big chunk
Yeah.
of that property. So I just was curious if you guys have heard that.
I did.
Okay, so we are down to the bottom here. I make a motion to pay bills.
Second,
All those in favor?
aye.
And then we're going to move into an executive session, which will have no action. And then we're going to come back out and adjourn the meeting. So I'll do, if no one has anything else for the good of the order, I will do the executive session. Trustee Varian moves to go into executive session at, what time is it? 8:40 for personnel matters. You want me to read it?
Yeah.
This refers to the appointment, employment, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official, or the investigation of charges or complaints against a public employee, official, licensee, or regulated individual.
Trustee Bruce, second.
Roll call?
Piru, Griffith,
Yes.
and Varian.
Yes. Everybody else can go. Thank you
Thank you.
very much.
Keep the nice weather.
All right.
Don't say that bad word. Begins with S and it's.
Oh,
No,
Don't say it.
no.
Don't say it.
but then said no.
There's a no.
No.
Are you guys all going Wednesday?
Yes,
know.
I'm going Wednesday.
You're not going?
No, I can't go. It's
You
a
going?
3 birthdays that day.
Wednesday,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's going.
It's Tozie's on 12.
You guys won't go?
You can talk my wife into going.
No for me.
Yeah, you weren't going, right? You could
No.
go either.
I had 3 birthdays that day. It was my dad's birthday too.